Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Alek, Koberna. That's Matt Morrison. It's Super Tuesday. This is the Casual Sports Podcast. Matt, do you know why it's Super Tuesday? Apparently not. It's because it's 2/22/2022. There's a lot of twos going on today. And you better guess it. The Casual Sports Podcast starts at 2. We're going to be celebrating at 2/22. So we got a lot to go over here. Matt, do you know why it's Super Tuesday? I just explained it to everybody, but you dropped out.
Because it's wait, I'm gonna take a guess. It's the date is 2/22 on 2022. Is that right?
Yeah. We got to celebrate at 2:22 p.m. So in 20 minutes, we got to make the shout out.
Imagine it.
Tuesday. So I mean, it's Super Tuesday at the moment.
Yeah. Just imagine this, though. All right. I'm not going to go into too much detail, but just imagine at exactly 2:22, you had to go number 2. You could be like, I'm going number 2 at 2:22 on
I didn't know where that was going. I don't want to go in there.
So,
I was like, where is he going with this? And then it went the complete wrong direction. Oh, God.
I just had to throw that in there.
All right, well, let's get into the show here. We got high school basketball playoffs continuing on here in the Valley on Super Tuesday. Should be some really great games. I'm going to be talking about, for the boys part of this bracket at least, the Northeast 1 Salem sectional in Division 3, perhaps one of the strongest brackets we have out there. The number 1 seed, Springfield, a team that I don't think has lost yet on the season. They are awesome. Bo Brungard, the future YSU quarterback, just hit 1,000 points in his career.
Against Gerard.
He's having a heck of a season. Springfield, they are one heck of a team. They're the favorites right now to walk out of this Salem district, but they got a lot of competition. If there's going to be a major upset, it is coming from this Division 3 Northeast 1 Salem bracket. First round for them, it'll be an easy one tonight. They got Manuel Crestwood. They're a 25 seed. Should be a walkthrough for a team like Springfield. Then they'll take on East Palestine. Should be another easy game. First 2 rounds for Springfield should be a walkthrough. Once they hit districts, that's where things get hard. On the other side of who will meet them in the district semifinals, Garfield, who is an 8 seed, Burton Berkshire, who is a 14 seed, Kirtland, who is always a dangerous team. They're 15 seed, but you know the type of athletes Kirtland can produce. So you have to watch out for a prestigious school like that to potentially pull the upset against the team they have in the first round tonight. Newton Falls, a 7 seed. That Tigers team, they have been really great all throughout this season. And this is a very dangerous part of the bracket. Whoever comes out of this side of the district finals or district semifinals will be a very strong team for the other side. I mean, whether it's Springfield, Garfield, or Newton Falls, or one of the others that pulls the upset, the Northeast 1 Salem division is going to be very difficult.
It's gonna be sweet. But actually, Springfield was so close to an unbeaten season.
They lost.
They lost to LeBray by 1 point. Their last game.
Wow.
21-1. They lost their last game.
I was gonna say, I knew they were 20-0. I didn't realize, or 21-0. I didn't realize
they're
got.
Still a heck of a team. Still a heck of a team. With Bo Brungard, man.
They let off the gas at the end of the season. Come on. They let off. Yeah. It's got to be, right?
He's a perennial powerhouse by himself. I mean, he leads the football team. They've made it close to state. What's that record? What's that stat? They've been the closest state like every year with him. And then he does this in basketball too. Like this guy's bringing all this leadership mentality to YSU. We're going to be dangerous. When he brings that to YSU, hopefully, man, I'm going to go to like every game next year.
If he plays, if you decide to put him in a quarterback, you still got to earn that spot on the team. He'll probably be the quarterback, but you still got to earn that spot.
Yeah. So, we'll see.
But on the other side of this Northeast 1 Salem Division III bracket, you have the 4-seeded Youngstown Liberty, who one of my teams has that first week bye. They don't play until Friday. They will take on the winner of Pymatuning Valley and South Range. Both teams are 11 and 17 seeds. Yeah. They play tonight. I think those two
PV is not to mess around with.
Match. I think PV will take that against South Range. I think Liberty and PV will be a phenomenal game this Friday if that's what ends up happening. I think Liberty has the matchups to take down South Range a little easier than PV, but definitely should be a great game either way. On the other side of this part of the bracket, Columbiana Crestview has the week 1 bye. They will take on either my team that I'm covering tonight and Cardinal Mooney, who came into this one as a 5 seed, or Mineral Ridge, who's a 22 seed. The game cover tonight, 13-9 Mooney, 6-16 Ridge. Mooney, they had such an up and down season. They were able to pull out a nice streak there at the end of it to bolster that record up. They were floating around 500, a good majority, just above it. They make a good run to finish out the season, and they get this high ranking. They're going to get a first 2 easy rounds. The first 2 rounds for Mooney should be wins, but Crestview is a school and Mineral Ridge are both teams that can pull upsets. This is one of the biggest things you have to watch out for. It's high school ball. We see this all the time in college. I think it's more prevalent in high school when you have these teams that just overlook their opponent and they get held into a close one at the end. And the team that shouldn't be in this game has all that energy because they're not supposed to be there. I think one of those 2 teams has potential to pull off an upset against the Mooney team that at times struggles to shoot. That has been one of their biggest Achilles heels this season, is that they aren't big in the scoring department. So they're going to have to keep their points up, keep their guys hot, and they're going to have to get Mick Hergenrother and the young Rocco Turner rocking early tonight against Mineral Ridge. They're 2 phenomenal talents. Mick is a great ball handler. He likes to pick pockets, and Rocco Turner, an outside threat, second leading scorer in his sophomore season. He'll be taking the reins from Mick next year. They have the makings of a great team. They lack a little bit of size that they've had in the past underneath. They don't have a lot of those dominant presences that they've had in the past, but they still got Pecchia, Desmond, and Pecchia, Pepperny. They got a lot of big guys down there, but none that were the physical threats that they have had in the past. I'm interested to see if one of those bigger guys can go big tonight and make some defensive stands, because they're going to need that as they get farther along into these playoffs. So at the moment, it looks like if our highest seeds play out all the way down to districts, as it potentially could, I think you got to watch out the Garfield-Newton Falls matchup if they can get that in the regional final.
We saw that Newton Falls team can compete. We saw them. We called them, in the Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse, and they just went and tore apart. They tore apart Wyndham. Like, they came out and were just shooting. I'm like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, if they play like that, they should be taking on Springfield in the district semi. So at the moment, we could see Springfield taking on Newton Falls or Garfield on one side of the district, and on the other side, which would be great for me, this one, perfect for me, perfect scenario, Liberty and Mooney at Liberty. The 2 teams I've covered all season long could potentially duel it out to go to the district finals. So that'd just be awesome for me. I covered both these teams all season. I haven't gotten to see a lot of Liberty boys because I've been more focused on their girls squad, and then I'll go see Mooney whenever I can as well. And the Liberty boys have had a phenomenal season while I've kind of been in and out. I've only gotten to see them, I think, 3 or 4 times on the year. But what I have seen from them, they are a phenomenal basketball squad. Yeah,
James Davis is just one heck of a ball player. He is.
Even when he goes quiet, there's other guys that can pick up the slack. So they're a very solid team. So yeah, I mean, we got a fantastic group that can make this to districts, make it very interesting. And it's hard to say that Liberty or Mooney or even Garfield or Newton Falls could potentially pull that upset over Springfield. It's going to be a hard task, and I don't know if we'll see anybody actually able to do that. But I think maybe that final loss at the end of the season is going to do one of two things. It's either going to make this team lose confidence right at the end, and they're going to slip up early in these playoffs, or it's going to light a fire into them that is going to drive them all the way to Dayton here in a month. It's going to be one of those two, or not even a month. We got 2.5, 3 weeks until we hit Dayton in the state finals. So it's either going to push this team into an unbelievable rally, they're going to run through Salem, or they're going to slip it up in a game they should win by 1.5 miles, because this is such a talented team. And obviously, they were dominating the MVAC all season long. It wasn't really close. I mean, they ran over everybody in pretty much all of these games. A couple of teams made it interesting, but no one really challenged them until LeBray hit them on the road in the end. But this team is going to have 2 straight home games in the playoffs, and games that they're probably both, they're obviously both going to be favored in, against teams that, no disrespect to them, but haven't had the best seasons. And then they'll go into neutral site territory against probably better teams in Garfield and Newton Falls. I think this is a very dangerous Springfield. I probably picked them right now as the favorite to exit out of it. A close second, though, would go to my Liberty team, because I think they're very talented, and I don't want to discredit what Springfield has done this season, though. To do what they had to have done, that's why I got Liberty as like a 1B, and you got Springfield as 1A.
Yeah, Springfield's just a tough tested team. They are. You can't. You can't take them lightly one bit at all. Like, they're going to take you to the max every game. So same thing with Liberty. They've had some great games. I only saw the one against Brookfield, but Brookfield came back in that game, and the thing was, it killed Brookfield. They were so exhausted from coming back from 15 points. They were up by 4 points at the start of the fourth, and they were just so gassed that Liberty ended up winning that game still by 20 points. They scored that much in that fourth quarter. They just know how to run, man. They're just in really good shape. Their coaches might watch, like, Coach Carr, like, get on that line. Get your hand on the line.
Yeah, well, they got to be doing something, because I don't know how they're creating these just monster athletes in Liberty, but they have some super special talent. And Matt, as you're talking about great coaching and perfectly conditioned teams, today is the 42-year anniversary of the 1980s men's hockey team.
Yep.
Do you believe in miracles? 42-year anniversary of that one today. So thought that was a cool one to mention here on the show.
Absolutely.
But, Matt, going over to your side of things with your boys here on, you got the Struthers Division 4 bracket coming out of it. A lot of big teams in there. Lowellville's your 2 seed. Heartland Christian, a team you've been really high on when you've seen them all season. They earned themselves the 3 seed. Over on the other side, you got Lisbon as an 8 seed. You got your own Kinsman squad as a 9. And then on the bottom side, you got St. Thomas Aquinas as your 4, and your Brookfield squad, a 14 seed going up against that 11 tonight. You covering any games here on?
Oh yeah, I've actually got the Badger game tonight. Badgers taking on Jackson Milton. They are both 10-12. It is going to be a battle, this game. And we talk about Heartland Christian. Heartland Christian only lost 3 or 4 games on this season, and they lost one to Badger, and they lost one to Jackson Milton as well. So I think that's key there too. Heartland Christian did end up beating Badger again, but hey, you got to keep an eye out on this Jackson Milton team. So they played Springfield before. They know how to play tough components. They've lost to Springfield, but some of their opponents that they play them tough. Even Lowville, 74-56. They still put up 56 points against them, and Lowville's a pretty darn good team. So we'll just have to see. Badger just has to stick with their defense. Carter Burnett's going to be I think he was ready to go that first game when he had the cast on. Now I think he's 20% better than he was. This kid is ready to play. He's a senior. They've got nothing to lose. You got Jack Lendak, who just reached 1,000 points. You're going to have Brad Hamilton, who's going to reach 1,000 points next year. He's like 300 points away, and he's a junior. So that's great. You have a built team. You have Jaden Richards, who's also a good 3-point shooter. Hopefully they can throw Heath Stanhope in there as well, who can shoot some threes, but he can also get down into the paint. They just have to work that defense. They've got to play tight man-to-man defense, or go into the zone. They know how to scout the zone defenses, so other people know how to do it too. So they got to look out for that, because the first play of that they ended up losing the game, but the first play of the Fairport game, Fairport was in a 3-2 defense that first play, and it ended up being a slam dunk by Carter Burnett. That whole rest of the game, they were never in that defense again. They were never in the 3-2 zone. So they have to figure out what offense works against the zone and what offense works against the man-to-man. And their shots will come, but their defense, Coach, I've talked to Coach Upshire, defense needs a little work. Their shots will fall down in the end. They're going to get high. It's playoffs in Kinsman, so it's home crowd. I expect it to be packed.
Yeah, Matt. So, well, you also got to remember, you got to man up for the Baird Brothers Big Dog of the Valley for boys basketball, Jack Lendak. You guys can go vote for whoever on ysnlive.com under the tab Big Dogs. Click on it. Go vote for your favorite players, or who you think the most deserving player is from the season. We got girls, boys, and wrestling has a few names in there as well. So make sure to go vote on ysnlive.com for that. But Matt, should be some fun playoffs. That's for sure. We'll check back in on Wednesday and Thursday afterwards to see how that all goes. Matt, you'll have to give the rundown tomorrow for the ladies action. We'll be seeing.
Oh man, this is gonna. First of all, I want to give out
for tomorrow there, Matt.
I'm not going to talk about this, but that is going to be something we're going to talk about tomorrow. Just if you're watching the show today, watch tomorrow, because this is going to be sweet. This is going to be sweet. But I want to give a shout out to the Badger Braves girls team. They fell short in their playoff game. They lost by 5 to Louisville. Coach Lavelle Turnage and also Norm Danucci. Great guys, great coaches. I want to give them, hats off for a good season. They're a tough team, and I think they've got some great players, Addison Thompson and Katie Grexa. They're going to come back next year, I believe. So they're going to have some girls back, and hopefully they can make another run at it next year. They're great coaches there. So
yeah, my Mooney team also got dropped out in that first round match, or I think second round matchup. They won the first, lost the second. Great season for Coach Diorio and the girls. Should be fun to see them next year. They got a couple young ladies that should be making some good jumps into the second and third years of their careers. But let's go ahead and moving on to the main event for today, college basketball, the top 10. Matt, 8 straight weeks, your number 1 squad has gone down. You need to avoid another one. Or number 2 seed has gone down. We've been on here for a few of those as well, but at the same time, you've been the most consistent at it. So without further ado, our top 10 here on the Casual Sports Podcast. Guys, at number 10, coming off of a loss, took a bit of a drop here in the rankings, so high up, but unanimously at number 10, just staying in, the Providence Friars. I hated to see them make that drop down. It was a close game. They've been in a lot of close games recently, and one of them, they finally got beat, but it was by Villanova, and that was the one. I said I would give Villanova their credit if they beat Providence. They beat Providence. I have them at number 7 in my rankings, higher than what both of you have them. So I gave them their respect. I gave them that shot. Now they have to not let me down in that department, but I'm still high on these Friars. They fell to 11th in the AP polls. I think maybe a bit of too much of a dip for this team. They're still very solid. Number 1 team in the Big East still. So I definitely think that, you got a very strong Big East at the top wise. These two teams, they're going to make some runs. Villanova and Providence. I think if you look at the top 10s for the AP polls, how many different conferences has 2 teams in the top 10?
I have no idea.
Let's see. You got SEC has Kentucky, and Auburn, Arizona with the Pac-12, Baylor and Kansas for the Big 12. With Texas Tech, so they got 3. ACC has 1. So at the moment, they're one of the 3 conferences I think with more than 1 team in that top 10. With Providence driving here at number 10 as their 1 seed, it's a great conference to be in right now.
And I always say this is one of the most underrated ones in all of college basketball.
I would say the top is great. I think the bottom has slipped.
Yeah, top heavy. Yeah, more top heavy, underrated wise. But yeah, I mean, I was texting Matt when I was making my rankings. I really didn't even know who to put at 10 because Baylor's struggling too.
I originally put Murray State in there. I'm like, man, Murray State's good. They're a great team, and I think they're better than most of those teams. And I totally forgot about Kansas. I'm like, all right.
Yeah, how to push them back
Murray
out.
State back out. But, I mean, they're right there.
If you write one down, you got to drop out your 10 team that you put like an hour of work trying to figure out who you were putting at 10.
10's a hard spot.
They're right there at 11 for me. Unbelievable. They're way better than most of those teams. They're 26
well, Matt, speaking
2.
of which, Murray State, the Racers got 9.
They did make it anyways? Good.
Yeah. I had them at 8 last week. I kept them right there. It's enough points that they stay in. USC was right behind them. I had them as my 9 squad. I think they're a team we got to start looking at once again. Yeah. They've been playing some phenomenal basketball. They're second in the Pac-12. They're still really far back in the AP polls, but they're 23-4. Arizona's 24-2. So this team has shown some great things. They've slipped up twice at home, but I think they're getting back into that winning mentality. They beat UCLA. They were in their last loss was to Arizona by just 9 points. They're a phenomenal squad to watch out for. But yeah, Murray State is a team I had in there. I love this team right now. They're playing some phenomenal basketball. And I mean, they're getting in tight games, but I think maybe the most important part is they still win. Even though they get challenged, they're still winning. I mean, when you go 26-2 on a season, on a 16-game winning streak, it's hard not to put you into this category. I mean, they're only 19th in the AP polls after yesterday. Obviously, I don't think they're going to get very much higher. They have a great game coming up Thursday against Belmont. Should be awesome to see that one. The top 2 seeds going at each other. Belmont's on a 10-game win streak. Murray State on a 16-game win streak. So should be great to see that one. We'll talk that game Thursday, and then they have an easier game to finish out the season against Southeast Missouri State. So 2 games left. I see this team finishing at 28-2, and worst case scenario 27-3. This is, if not one of the best teams in probably Murray State history, and obviously in the Ohio Valley as well.
Haven't lost a game since December 22nd against Auburn.
Wow. Yeah. And at the moment, there's only really one team that I can think of that has done that. And that's South Dakota State. South Dakota State, by the way, a team everyone needs to look at again. 25-4, 16-game win streak right now.
They've got 13 other.
And they got Oral Roberts on Thursday. We're talking that one Thursday.
They've got 13 other receiving votes.
San Diego?
At the bottom. Yeah. San Diego?
Oh, South Dakota.
South Dakota.
Yeah. South Dakota State. Yeah, they have 13 other receiving votes. Rutgers has 35. So.
Yeah. Well, yeah, Murray State, though, they've earned this spot with that win streak they're on. I mean, when Auburn went on their big win streak, it shot them up the polls so fast. Murray State's doing the same thing, and they're riding this one to glory. So hopefully they can keep that ride up. Should be a great game on Thursday against Belmont if they get through that. Obviously, I think they'll be favorites to take the Ohio Valley, so would like to see that.
Yes.
Well, moving on. In the ACC, the Duke Blue Devils getting the spot. This is one team I still don't have in my top 10. I don't like what this team has done this season, and I feel like it's becoming to forget and forgive for Duke basketball because of their name, and they have highly touted prospects. But at the same time, I mean, when we're talking about this is one of the biggest problems I'm having with Baylor right now too. Baylor keeps going on a nice win streak and then dropping something. And I feel like every time they start winning again, we forget about how bad they fell apart previously. And it just becomes too much of, well, that team was top 10 earlier in the season. Give them the benefit of the doubt, put them right back in it. When you have other teams that are playing so much better, like Murray State, like Providence, like Villanova now, and teams like that are just getting pushed out of this top 10 because you have a blue blood of the sport doing okay. I mean, they're 23-4. They're not a bad team, but who did they just beat? I mean, their last loss came to Virginia, a team that's 17-10, sixth place in the conference. Then, they had a blowout over Clemson. Good. They should have. That's a team that's 4-12 in conference play and is on a 6-game losing skid now. 11-point game against Boston College, fourth worst team in the ACC. Then they get in the 2-point game against Wake Forest. I'll give them credit. That was a great game to win. Wake Forest is a 20-win team on the season. I'll give them that one. And then an 18-point win against Florida State. which is in the same category.
They got
as
lucky in that Wake Forest game.
Yeah.
That was
Yeah,
a goaltending call.
That was
They got
BS.
lucky.
Wake Forest should have won.
Yeah, they should have won.
Or
I
at
was
least sent it to
mad.
overtime.
I picked them that week.
Yeah, it was 100%
Pissed.
goaltending.
Oh, it was. It was. But no, it's Duke. Duke can't
Right,
lose.
but no, I mean, you go back to Duke here. Who they finish out the schedule on one of the easiest runs? They have Virginia, an average team.
Pitt
They
beats
have
them.
Syracuse, an average team.
Yeah.
Pitt, who is fifth in the ACC right now, they finish out going up against UNC, who they're okay. I don't think they're the UNC of old. I mean, they're still a 20-win team at the moment, but they have not been a good 20-win team, if you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, they're actually in Pitt. Maybe we go to that game.
But I just don't like what I'm
Pitt
seeing
ain't
out of
beating
Duke
them.
right now.
They're not, but that'd be
Pitt's
cool.
bad.
They're bad. North Carolina will beat them. They're bad too, man.
Villanova, I mean, UNC is a 20-win team right now, but they're going up against one of the worst ACCs I think we've ever seen.
Yeah.
I think that's one of the biggest things why Duke's record is what it is. If they were playing in the Big 12 or the Big 10 or, frankly, the Big East, they would not be where they are.
They would suck if they were in the Big 10, period.
Yeah, this is just one of those things. They're going to get a 2 or 3 seed most likely for March Madness. I don't think they deserve that. I think this team's better off as a 4, in my opinion. I mean, they're still a good team. First place in your conference, you got to be somewhere up higher. I think they're a 4 seed. I couldn't see them putting them any higher than 3, though. They don't deserve a 1 or a 2 seed this season.
No.
Well,
they're not going to go far.
Yeah. I guess we'll see how they finish it out. Next one up, though, number 7, the Wildcats of Villanova. I said I'd give them credit. They took down Providence. They've had some great wins over the month. I mean, last fall, they started the month against Marquette. It was a 10-point loss. They beat UConn, St. John's, Seton Hall, Providence, and now Georgetown. And they're running over some big names. They have UConn, Providence, and Butler to finish. If they run through that gauntlet, which I don't know if they can do that a second time. I mean, they pretty much just ran through that. Now they have to go hit repeat and try and do it all again. I don't know if they can do that, but they have definitely stepped up in this last half of the season with these big wins. And if you got to look at maybe one team to pull the spoiler in the Big East Conference tournament for this squad, Marquette, if they're in that Big East tournament here in a couple of weeks, they got a shot to pull upset galore over the Big East top teams.
I mean, honestly, looking at Villanova's schedule, that's the only team they struggle with. They lost them twice. Yeah. Other than that, I mean, they beat Xavier. That team, I mean, they're not what they were, but that time they were good. All these, I mean, you ran through all those other ones they just beat. That UConn one's actually tonight. It's actually going to be a fun one to watch. I might tune in.
That's going to be a great game to watch. I mean, and the Providence game, man, they get to play them again. I mean, I think we talked about that last week, but man, this rematch is going to be even better. It was such a close game last time.
They got that one at home too.
Yeah, they got that one at home now. It's going to be sweet.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we go to get to see what happens there. And with that, how about we move on a little bit further? Number 6, Kansas. This is one I disagree with entirely, but not for the reason you guys are going to think. Because of who is ahead of them right now and who you guys had ahead of Kansas in this week's rankings.
Who I got ahead of them?
With the team at number 5, Kentucky.
Oh.
These two teams right now, I know they had that head-to-head, and I love to count head-to-heads. But at this point, Kentucky's lost since then. They have had losses, and Kansas has beat Baylor, Texas, Oklahoma State, and your Huggy Bears WVU, and Iowa State along this run. They are on a fantastic run. And Kentucky they're a great team. You know, I really like this team. And they got a big win last night or on this past Saturday, but they got beat by 13 points against Tennessee. The comeback game against Alabama was great, but it probably wasn't a game they should have been trailing in the first place. To me, Kentucky does not deserve this spot over Kansas. I had these two flipped around. Actually, I had Kansas as my number 3 team this week. I think out of anybody, they've had one of the strongest runs in the last month. I gave them that benefit, and with teams ahead of them, dropping some games, I had to push them down. Kentucky, I had sitting down at 6. I don't think they are better than Kansas right now, despite the fact that they do have a near 20-point win against them less than a month ago.
Yeah, I mean, Kentucky, that Tennessee game, I mean, they fell off a little bit in that game, and then they fell off with Alabama too. And then, I mean, Calipari just must have got pissed and be like, hey, what the hell are you doing? Start playing the game that I taught you and go out there and win. And that's what they did. What's his name? Kellen Grady pulled up 25-point spark just like that. Like that didn't just start because of I'm gonna start playing better. And so, just because you got yelled at.
Right, then you got to look at Oscar Tshiebwe pulling down 14 boards in that game too. But looking at those games is a whole nother analysis to go into. But at the moment, looking at the eye test, Kansas is playing better basketball right now. And you know what? When you talk about basketball, it does not matter what you did a month ago. What you did a month ago is irrelevant. What you do right now is the most important thing. At the moment, I don't care that Auburn went on a near 20-game win streak. It does not matter to me. What have you done since you lost it? It is one of the most important things in basketball to me, because at the end of the day, I'm not playing a game that you were playing a month ago. I'm playing a game tonight, and I got to know if you're going to be there, and they haven't.
Do you know why teams fall? So they can learn to pick themselves back up. And so far, Auburn and other teams like that, like Baylor too, that have not learned to pick themselves back up. They were winning so much in a row. They're so used to winning, then they lose.
Do you know who picked themselves back up perfectly? Gonzaga.
Gonzaga did, yeah. And so did Villanova. Villanova was on a horrible streak at the beginning of the year. You remember that? We were talking crap about them. We're like, we don't like the way they're playing. We don't like their system that they're doing, and they need to straighten up. Well, they did. They certainly did. So it's just all about picking yourself back up and who will and who won't. So.
Yep. All right. Well, let's hit to the top 4 here. At number 4, the team that spoiled Rutgers' upset program, the Boilermakers of Purdue. They took down Rutgers' phenomenal upset run, 84-72.
Told you.
Still a good game. Still a good game to watch, but
yeah, I mean,
it's gotta end sometime.
I told you
I'm trying to jump on the wagon. Okay, I like the Scarlet Knights. They don't do anything. Okay, they don't win in football or basketball. For them to do that,
that's not true, Matt. This is
and you don't make your picks that way either.
I do give them. So that's why I'm doing that right now.
16 and 10 guys. They're fifth place in the Big Ten. Don't say they don't win.
Well, I'm talking about previous years, Alek, in their history. They don't win in football. They don't win in basketball.
Last year they were 16 and 12. Were 8th place in the Big Ten.
Well, I'm talking about overall. Okay, past couple of years. Okay, they're bouncing back, but
they were a 20-win team in 2019.
Well, okay, they're bouncing back. That quit coming up with stats, damn it.
Well, last year that wasn't really that good.
Past 20 years, Rutgers. Okay. They have you're googling that probably right now too.
Last year wasn't that great. I mean, I got back on that one.
They've had some bad teams. I'm just happy that they're making some runs. All right, I'm just happy with that. They're gonna make. When's the last time they made March Madness?
2021.
Really?
Yep, they lost in the second round to the number 2 Houston. They beat number 7 Clemson in the first round, 60-56. They lost that game to Houston by 3.
Okay, 1 second.
Before that, though, 1991.
There you go. There we go. Case in point, okay? They don't win. They're not Ohio State. They don't win. They're not there every year competing.
Hey, they were in the finals of the NIT in 2004. They lost to Michigan by 7.
So was Penn State. Oh, my gosh. They won it.
Penn State won it, like, what, 3 or 4 years ago or something. They swept that, though. They didn't. Nobody else had a chance. Tony Carr was bulldozing. But, I mean, I'm happy for Rutgers. I mean, I'm happy for Purdue, too, for not, getting upset again. Like, hey, they knew how serious they were. They knew they were coming to play, and, they did their game. They bounced back, too. They weren't going to let them beat them again. They, it was like, hey, they got lucky last time. They hit a buzzer beater. We're going to say they're not getting lucky this time. We're going to put it to them. That's what they did.
I knew it was coming. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Good things come to an end. I told you that.
I mean, I picked Purdue too, though. You don't see me bragging about it. But, moving on.
I'm just saying, Matt was like, oh, no, there's no way.
Going on to number 3 here, the Tigers of Auburn. They fall.
Oh, man, what the hell happened?
They drop to Florida 62-63.
They were 2. That's what happened.
Yeah. They went on one of the hottest streaks. The loss is that, hey, ball won't lie. Game evens out itself. I mean, 24-3. They're still commanding lead in first place over Kentucky and Arkansas. I don't think they need to worry. They're going to finish out this season with Ole Miss, Tennessee, which could cause problems, but Mississippi State and South Carolina after that. It should be a 4-0 finish to the season for this Tigers team. They should finish 28-3. Should be phenomenal for them. Worst case scenario, 27-4. I don't think you see Ole Miss, Miss State, or South Carolina pulling the upset out of that group. I just don't see that happening. I know Florida did it, and Florida's down there as well, but I still think Florida's got some talent down there. I think they're still better than that bottom half of the SEC.
And Auburn's number 3 this week. And Auburn's number 3 this week. They're safe.
Oh yeah, they have to win this week.
Yeah, they'll win this week.
That means they're guaranteed to win. Arizona's gonna have a hard week. They'll bounce back next week.
The number 3 team always seems to somehow win when the number 2 loses.
Matt, I'm sorry, but I hope that ends this week because I like Arizona.
Me too, but watch them lose at Utah. They play Utah. Oh my goodness.
Let's go ahead because you're already talking about it. The Arizona team, man, Arizona Wildcats. They have been
Utah's butt. They better not lose.
So is Florida.
Well, 2 chances to drop it this week against Utah and Colorado. Colorado is an 18-9 team, 5-game winning streak, 5-4 on the road, but it's at home where Colorado's been 11-4. Utah, they pretty much suck all around. Don't need to worry about that one. But Colorado, if you're pulling the upset this week, that's who's doing it over Arizona. It has to be because it can't be Utah. It's got to be Colorado. Cards are pitting right
on any given day. Someone's gonna lose on any given day. It doesn't matter who they play.
Yeah.
So.
Well, yeah, everybody can win.
Yeah, well, I mean, Arizona's also instead of talking about who might upset them, let's talk about the nice tear they've been on too. They're getting right back onto the wagon, 8-game win streak, and earlier this season they were number 1 in college basketball in scoring. Out of major conferences, they are still number 1, 84.8 points per game. The only 2 teams higher than them, Gonzaga, who's just murdering the West Coast, and South Dakota State, whose name I can't pronounce apparently, South Dakota State. And who's averaging 86.6, and they're tearing them up too. But Arizona, they're still the highest scoring quad 1 team. So this is just phenomenal basketball you're seeing out of this team. And I know we want to talk about the upsets and who might do it, but I think you got to give this team some respect for what they're doing because they are balling right now.
Yeah, they are.
And they would be in first place if it wasn't for Gonzaga playing in the worst conference in basketball. At least
and having sick recruits too.
Huh?
And Gonzaga, like you said, worst. They're good. Best recruits is probably why they're ahead of them too.
Right. I mean, they're in a 16-game win streak right now, and no one touched them since they started conference play.
Yeah.
Man.
Like you have some good teams coming up. I mean, St. Mary's in San Francisco, the Dons.
Your boys,
the Dons, kick their butts. I mean, it's not even close. I mean, Gonzaga finish out the season this week. They'll finish up on Saturday. They got the Dons Thursday and St. Mary's on Saturday. Neither one of those teams is doing anything to them.
Yeah.
And, so we'll go ahead and throw the number 1 team up there. It's Gonzaga. That's obvious. I mean, these top 4 teams, really, I think probably your strongest 4 at the moment. I still got question marks on Purdue, man. They're doing okay.
It's fair.
I want to see them do what we see out of Gonzaga, Arizona, and Auburn. When they win games, they win them big. Purdue is going in there, and it seems like they're in a slugfest every single night. I mean, Rutgers was their biggest win in a while. I mean, since Illinois on February 8th, and they had the Michigan loss, which was terrible, a 1-point win against Maryland, a 6-point win against Northwestern before finally hitting double digits again against Rutgers. But, I mean, Maryland and Northwesterns were not teams that should have stuck around with a number 4 team in the country. So, to me, out of what would be our 1 seeds, Purdue is by far the weakest out of this group.
It's fair. I think it is. And they haven't really rebounded the way I thought they would against, some of the struggles they've had from what I thought about them earlier in the year.
All right. Let's go ahead and get into a little bit of controversy that happened in college basketball this last week, the Juwan Howard situation and what has come out of it. So post-game, you can check out the video, I believe, on our Casual Sports Report Twitter page. It has been retweeted out there. But Juwan Howard got into an altercation after the game. He was upset that the coach for Wisconsin called a timeout while up, I think, 20 with like 19 seconds left. He got offended. Don't really know why, considering Juwan Howard called a timeout against Ohio State the game before with like
Can I
19
add to that,
seconds
Alek?
left. I think down by 20 again.
Mike and I went in this one.
Yeah.
I want to tell Alek this part.
They announced
First
what
of all,
the punishment was today, which is why I'm bringing it back around.
First of all, hold on, Matt.
5-game suspension.
Why are you, when you're down 20 with like less than a minute left, why are you pressing to begin with?
Yeah.
So, and then you're mad that they called a timeout. Then why are you pressing?
So,
yeah.
But listen, you can say whatever you want to say about it. He shouldn't have swung at him. It's basketball.
In my opinion,
so what? You lost.
In my opinion, I think Juwan Howard's tenure should come to an end after this season. I think he's done. He's done nothing there.
No, he hasn't done crap. You want to do something? Don't hit people. Win games. You meathead.
Right. Tell his players to hit the boards instead of the other coaches. You know, it's just one of those things. So
the punishment that came
out of this one, Juwan Howard was subject to a 5-game suspension, which is the rest of the regular season, along with a $40,000 fine. Student athlete Terrence Williams, the second, received a 1-game suspension, and Musa Diabite also got a 1-game suspension. For Wisconsin, the head coach, Greg Gard, received a $10,000 fine, and Jacoby Neath received a 1-game suspension as well, effective immediately. So suspensions thrown around. But
did the Wisconsin guy get fined? He just got hit in the face.
Because I think what started it was like he grabbed Juwan Howard's like shirt or whatever. Because Juwan Howard was trying to walk right past him. He went, "Hey, be sportsmanlike here." And Juwan Howard, it was the shaking the finger in the other coach's face for me. That was like, "Oh, come on, what are you, a toddler?"
Yeah. So I was in the NBA.
I was good at one point, and now I'm coaching.
Yeah, I was part of the Fab Five. What were you part of?
I've no idea what
you said, Matt.
There.
He was part of the Fab Five.
Oh, okay.
I was part of the Fab Five. What do you got?
Screaming there. No, but ridiculous. I think Michigan should probably look at this in the offseason and probably end his tenure. It's not the replacement to John Beilein.
You didn't see that with Beilein. No. Beilein was this easygoing guy. He's like, all right, you go play basketball. And they did. They won.
And they did
won
very well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think Howard's the right coach for this.
I miss Beilein there.
Yeah.
Beilein's cool.
Let's go ahead and move this into our newest segment of the year, Horizon League Baseball. We're going to jump on it. As everybody knows, YSN does the radio broadcast for the YSU baseball team, headlined by Richie Giuliano, a guy that we might be bringing on the show at some point during this baseball season to talk a little bit of YSU baseball later down the line. Sweet. But right now, Horizon League, they're already down their first week. Youngstown State sits in third place so far, 2-1 overall. Milwaukee's in first place, 3-0 through that opening stretch this past weekend. It was a good start, in my opinion, to the season. I loved seeing some close games down in Daytona for our Youngstown squad, and obviously they're a phenomenal baseball team. They were going up against CSU out in California. They won some of those games 10-6, and it was just a great start for them. They lost pardon me. Hold on.
You all right?
Oh, yeah, I'm looking at the wrong team. Milwaukee took down Alabama and A&M. They put up 16 runs in that game. I mean, we got some good players up here at the top of the standings right now for these teams. And I mean, Wright State had to go up against Georgia Tech twice earlier, and they lost by 11 in that game on Saturday, which kind of sucked. But at the same time, they were close in there, and you love to see that. Even though some of these teams inside the Horizon League going up against those top teams and a ranked Georgia Tech, who's 11th, they were getting in there. I mean, they almost beat them 6-9 on Sunday. It was a close one for them. And, coming up here to finish out and going into this week, first game, we got Milwaukee going up against Arizona out in Tucson. I think that'll be a fun game. And obviously Milwaukee, the top team in the conference early on. I still think, long ways to go. But I still think this is a big shot right now. Horizon League, I think, can make some noise. I think they got 3-4 solid teams right at the top that can shake things up this season.
Absolutely. I always look forward to, watching this YSU baseball team. Even their softball team is fantastic as well. They're trying to, repeat that great performance from last year. Their season has started already. They're 4-5, but, it's early in the season. Wait till they get into, the conference play. That's where they usually erupt. When they play like Detroit Mercy and your Oaklands and stuff like that. But it should be pretty interesting. I definitely got to get out and see some games.
Yeah,
baseball or softball. Softball, you just go. It's right on campus, but you can go. What is it? Eastwood Field. That'd be cool to go see YSU there. So
yeah,
it'd be sweet.
I'm hoping
Even
we
their
see a new
non-conference
champion
stuff.
as well. Wright State and UIC have split 2 out of the last 4 years each way. But, I think Milwaukee, Oakland, and Youngstown all got a chance this season. Off the strong starts, obviously, Cookman and Bethune, not the highest level of competition for YSU. But, that's going to pick it back up as they get farther along into the schedule. And I'm hoping we have a good year, much like the softball team did last year. I'm hoping that these boys get right back on the horse and have no problem carrying the banner for YSU. Should be a great season. Wright State still the favorites as of right now. Obviously, opening it up against a tough opponent like they did, not going to help you out in the early going against for Georgia Tech. But I think seeing how close they were in those games against GT just goes to show you what this team is made of and why they're supposed to be the favorites. Because the first game of the season, it was a 1-point loss. They nearly upset them down in Georgia too. So all these Horizon League teams have been on the road. I'm excited to see what they can do once they hit home for the first time this year, which won't be for a while. But I love one of the games coming up for Youngstown State. They got Belmont coming up. Wright State has number 7 Oklahoma State on the resume. UIC has Cal coming into town. So a lot of big games coming up this weekend for Horizon League action.
Yeah, Matt, I like their non-conference schedule as well. They play a lot of YSUs. They play
the softball team.
West Virginia, that's normally not bad in baseball. They played Penn State a couple times, Michigan State. They played Pitt a couple times. It'd be cool to go see them. I think they've come to Youngstown once, so it'd be cool. Their non-conference schedule is pretty interesting, and the Horizon League is a tough league in baseball.
Yeah. So we'll just have to see what happens. But I'm checking here real quick to see if the baseball team plays them. But they actually they do. That's sweet. So the baseball team and the softball team actually get to play Ohio State.
Yeah, I forgot to say that.
I found that pretty cool. That's gonna be sweet. It's in Ohio State, but still, that's gonna be sweet. And actually,
Wright State takes them on as well on March 22nd.
Yeah,
as
Pitt, the game after they got Pitt at home. Pitt baseball coming to Eastwood Field, and that's gonna be sweet.
Nice. YSU is Penn State as well on the 22nd of March.
Yeah, I saw that. I did see that. They're at Penn State, but.
Yeah, but it should be a fun schedule. We'll keep up on it as the season progresses. We're hoping to talk about that Tuesday, Thursday shows. We'll recap the weekend on Tuesdays and look ahead to the next weekend on the Thursday show. Hopefully, we can get a few of the personalities onto the show here at some point down the line, especially once we get into the later months of the season. And, of course, now, with no Major League Baseball, spring training's been pushed back. You never know. College ball might take over here this season. Hey, you never know who they're going to have to fill those time spots with. It might be college ball. It might end up being minor league ball. Whatever they can find. Something's going to be on TV because those time slots exist. And those
by the way,
are eager to fill them.
I know we've been saying this a lot. I guess
Sports
Major League Baseball.
Since
you brought that up, I think they had another meeting today. My one friend said, a writer named Cody Duncan said he thinks negotiations could be done by the end of the week with Major League Baseball.
Sweet.
So
it's possible, but I feel like we were talking about that last week. The same stuff was coming out. They were getting close to a deal, and then we get to the start of this week, and they go, all right, we're pushing it back to March 5th. And it's like, well, hold on. Why are we doing that now if we were just hearing that we were close to a deal? So I think a lot of stuff up in the air right now still with Major League Baseball. But Horizon League action should get hot, intense, lots of fun to go up against. But let's finish out this show here with some NHL discussion, NHL preview here. First game, the Predators and the Panthers, and a game that pits two of the top teams in hockey this season up against one another. Predators, they've had a little bit of a fall off in the Central Division, but you just have to look at the team in first place of the Central in the Avalanche going on an absolute tear right now, and you can see why the Predators are kind of on the slide. 4-game losing streak. I think we'll all probably hit the Panthers to pick this game, but I definitely think, both of these teams are really phenomenal and potential teams to look out for come into this season here in a few months.
Yeah, Predators are on a downfall the last couple games.
Yeah, they're definitely a top team. They are. Colorado, though. They got smacked by Boston yesterday. Mike,
Matt, isn't this one of your upset alert teams?
Yeah, I honestly think the Avalanche are a weak team. I was going off about them yesterday. I think they're one of the weaker teams. Alek, if you want, if you look in the standings, I'll go real quick. But 1 second here. They're loading. But look
No,
at
they're 36, 10-4, 76 points, 7-2 in their last 10, and a 56 overall differential. They've scored almost 200 goals on the season, sitting at 199, second leading team in scoring. They have allowed just 143 goals on the season, which is among the lowest marks in the NHL.
And look at their division. Look at all the divisions first. You look at the Pacific on the West. It is tight right there. You got the Flames, Golden Knights, Oilers, the Kings, even the Ducks are all close in line with everybody. Then you go to the Central of the Western Conference. The Avalanche are up by 11 points over Minnesota Wild. All those teams in there are weak except for Colorado, and they're just playing better than everybody else. It's close everywhere around hockey except for that division. It's close in the Metropolitan, and it's even close in the Atlantic on the East. They're playing these soft teams, and it's gonna come up and bite them.
And it usually does the last couple of years, Matt.
It has. So and they played a tough. Even though I do not like them at all, they played a tough Eastern Atlantic Division team in Boston, and Boston's
5-1 win.
Yeah, they're in 4th place right now too. They won 5-1 yesterday. They kicked their butts.
Yeah, I mean, Avalanche went down to the Stars as well, 4-1.
Yeah.
Granted, they beat them the game before 4-0, but remember, the Avalanche also lost to the Coyotes at some point this season.
Yeah, they did.
Shootouts.
I am not impressed one bit by this team.
Well, I think it'll be interesting to see how they play come, Stanley Cup time, playoffs.
Yeah, it's gonna show.
All right, well, into this game here, Panthers and Predators. Panthers obviously on a tear, 8-2 in their last 10 games, a 63-point differential for them, which is, I believe, the highest mark in hockey right now. It's phenomenal to see what they've been doing. I mean, 3-game win streak. I like to see that extend a little bit more, but, as much as you talk about how the Avalanche have dominated that Central Division, points-wise, Panthers are in the same place at 75 points, but they got teams behind them that are closer than what you're seeing out there in the Western Central Division. So I think they've just been a really phenomenal team this year. I think the Panthers, out of anybody, might be my favorite to make that big run down final stretch into the postseason and potentially win it all. I know you guys have touted a lot about you think whoever comes out of the Met is going to be that top team, but I think you got to watch out for the Panthers to sneak through and pull the upset over your metropolitan teams.
We'll see. They like to choke too, but if they play clean and they play,
everybody likes to choke in hockey. It's the sport of choking.
I know they do.
Favorites don't always win in hockey, just like baseball.
Listen,
it's not like basketball where you know who's going to win.
They can make a legitimate shot at it. I really think they can. That's the only other team besides the Metropolitan that I think has a chance. I think Tampa Bay is not going 3 in a row. They are not winning 3 in a row.
I keep telling you.
It's not going to happen.
You don't know.
It's not. No.
I don't know if Tampa's got what it takes this year. I think they're still good. I don't think they're as
They're
good.
not my favorite, but don't write them off. They're still 2-time defending champs. You can't just exclude that. I mean,
I think it'll take a big third quarter push to the season actually at this point to put that Tampa Bay squad right back at that top of the horse. But I mean, back-to-back champs, hard to count them out. I like Calgary though down in the Pacific as well. They're on a 10-game win
talking
streak.
About them yesterday too, man.
That. Yeah.
Woo! The Flames, man, with Johnny Gaudreau, man, he's
got a squad.
He's quick. What was it? 44 assists, Mike? I said yesterday. Mm-hmm. 44 assists.
Then why did you guys pick against them?
We picked against them?
Yeah, you both picked the Jets over the Flames.
I didn't pick the Jets. I picked the Flames. Mike, you wrote the wrong team down.
Well, I was so used to us picking the same team, I must have screwed up. But Matt picked the Flames.
Man. I picked the Flames yesterday, man.
Okay.
We'll go back and look.
Sorry,
I'm looking at the chart from yesterday. I got 2 picks for OSU, 2 picks for Baylor, 2 picks for the Hurricanes, and 2 picks for the Jets.
Sorry,
Mike. Darn it.
Well, see, we all picked the same one all game. I just wrote the same thing down without thinking.
You had one job.
All right, you do it next time.
I'll do it next time.
Good.
All right. I'll write
He'll do it next time, and it'll all be wrong, and then it'll go right.
Well, your handwriting's better than mine.
I don't care.
I do. I got to read this crap.
You got to read it.
All right, well, we're all taking the Panthers
type it
going
out
into
then,
this
Matt.
one. Next game here for the NHL, the Maple Leafs and the Blue Jackets. Good one tonight. I like this Blue Jackets team. I know they're not the best this season. I mean, 25-23. I like being plus 500 though, and doing that in the Met, I think, is a big accomplishment. With the teams, I mean, when you can say the 4 teams ahead of you, the Capitals, Rangers, Penguins, Hurricanes, fine by me. I would love to see a strong third quarter push of the season and see if they can do something with it and potentially pull some more upsets like we've seen in the past out of this team. They're obviously not a Stanley Cup champion-esque team, but their team I think could potentially bite some ankles. There's some ankle biters if they can do something and make that push. They're 14 points behind, so I don't think it'll happen, but I think they can potentially mess up some seeding, if anything, down the stretch. And I think that's where it comes into place with this Maple Leafs team tonight. Maple Leafs are 32-14-3, third place in the Atlantic and 6-4 in the last 10, but on a 2-game losing streak. Jackets in the last 10, 7-3, 2-game win streak for them. I think despite the fact that the differential in this game tells me to take Maple Leafs, I got a sneaky suspicion Blue Jackets are pulling something out tonight.
You got to roll with your team.
Yeah. I got a feeling tonight's going to be a good night.
I mean, they're only 11 points out of the playoffs, the playoff picture.
I mean, this Maple Leafs team really. I mean, they beat Pittsburgh this last week. Pittsburgh needs to play defense against these types of teams, or they're going to get burned. I'm going to say that right now. That's my team. I like them, but they need to start playing better defense. They do. And that's how they lost that game. And, Columbus has a pretty darn good defensive team. The record may not show it, but they have some good defensive players. They lost their main guy, Seth Jones. I think he went to Chicago or something like that. But, I mean, they're still hanging around. That's why they're falling. I mean, that's why they're having a little bit of down season. They lost some of their big guys. So, especially in that expansion draft. So,
the Toronto team, they just lost to the Canadians who stink.
Yeah. Toronto's up and down. They're up and down.
That's why I think we got the ankle biters from Columbus coming in tonight.
Yeah, I'm going with you. I'm taking Columbus too.
Oh, great! Now they're not going to win.
Oh, good.
That's why I'll pick Toronto then.
Yeah,
they just lost Montreal.
Every
they got to bounce back.
Goes to agree with me about the Blue Jackets. They mess it up, so it's like, darn it.
How's that? Oh, okay.
But I went against the differential. It hasn't worked well when I've done that. I'm still in first place of the NHL, by the way, with a 42-24 overall record. Somehow my algorithm works. I don't get it. I watch the least amount of hockey. I know the least amount of hockey, but hey, I pick it right somehow.
Yeah,
somehow.
I guess so.
You had a dry spell though, didn't you?
I had a little bit of a dry spell, and I almost abandoned the algorithm, but I jumped right back on, and I was like, hold on. I just got to see if this works. And it's working. I mean,
what are you using? What algorithm? Like, what are you doing?
The goal differential.
Yeah. I wasn't going to tell him, yeah. The goal differential. It works. Man. Laugh at me all you want for it.
I'm not laughing.
I guess it does.
I give you credit for finding something because hockey's hard to pick.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
It's one thing that has been right 66% of the time.
No, wait. Matt's number 2 team has been right more than that.
What?
Matt, your number 2 team losing has been right more than his algorithm.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah. Oh, that is true. Could be.
Just saying.
Yeah.
They're both funny though.
Yeah. But hey, you got to find something to do at this point when you don't know what you're talking about. But that's coming up later this week, obviously more basketball, playoffs or YSN Live.
Tomorrow,
and should be some fun stuff going on all week long. Friday, throwing in NASCAR. We're going to be predicting it once again. So come on back Friday to see how we're going to draw up that format, picking out of a field of 40. We'll have something fun in store, that's for sure. But that is going to do it here for the Casual Sports Podcast. I'm Alek Koberna. That's Matt Morrison and Mike Wolfgang. We will see you all
tomorrow.
Me and Matt will see you
tomorrow. Maybe tomorrow. Have a fun Super Tuesday. That doesn't hear. Bye.